So growing up, one of the main things that my parents spoke about a lot in the house was the aspect of finances, right? So one of the things they actually based their emphasis on was the fact that if you're growing up, especially as a man, one of the things that you're supposed to do is actually save a lot of money, right? Which is not wrong. It is great to save money a lot. But in my about 10 to 15 years of immersing myself in the financial world, these are some of the things that I feel like were the mistakes that I made growing up, that I feel like if you actually do not make those mistakes, you will probably be financially free at some point in time in your life, because there are a lot of people who have gone through these mistakes and they did not become financially free. So the first one that I'm going to talk about first is waiting too long to invest, right? Like I stated earlier, it actually merges into everything. My parents were talking about the fact that if you're a man, you're supposed to be saving for the future, save for your family, save for your future, save for your kids, that type of stuff, right? Which is great. And it's not wrong to save all those money and all those liquid cash, have them in hand. It is wonderful. But you have to actually not wait so long to actually invest that money, okay? So you might have about $20,000, $100,000 in your account. One of the main things that you're supposed to do right after you have that money in your account is to invest the money, right? If you have the money and you're not investing it and the money is just sitting down there, you're not really making nothing off of the money. You're supposed to let that money work for you, okay? So one of the things that I actually recommend people actually do is, though you're not gonna get a lot of money back out of it, is actually buying, certificate of deposits from banks, which is called CDs, right? Like some banks will call it, right? So let's say if you're investing about $20,000 into an account for a CD, right? Certificate of deposit, and you're getting back about 4% of that money back, you'll be making at least something at the end of every 6 months or something at the end of every month. So that is something crucial that I feel like if you actually do, if you have the liquid cash, it's wonderful to have that liquid cash. But mind you, you're supposed to invest that money so the money can be working for you and you'll be making money out of it. That is some great things that I feel like if you do, it will help you out a lot. So the second thing that I actually did that really did not help me out a lot was having bad debt, right? And when I talk about bad debt, I mean the aspect of credit cards, the aspect of cars, the aspect of buying stuff that are liabilities rather than something that are assets, okay? So let me go more into that. So when I talk about bad debt, so let's say a credit card, the average credit card APR in America, because I'm in America right now, the average credit card APR in America, I have it here, it says 22.70. I'm going to show you on that screen right there. The average credit card APR is 22.470. So imagine if you actually have a credit card from a bank, right? And then they tell you that they're going to give you all these benefits. They're going to give you $100 rebate every year. They're going to give you interest free for 1 year. They're going to give you this, they're going to give you that, all that goody stuff that comes with a credit card, right? If a bank is giving you that much information or giving you that much benefit with a credit card that they're giving you, the likelihood of you having a higher interest rate is very high, okay? So with them giving you a higher interest rate negates the fact that you're actually going to get these benefits, because if you're not able to pay your entire balance off at the end of every month, you get charged interest rate, and you getting charged interest rate takes away from that benefits that you're giving you. Does that make sense? So let's say you have a higher interest rate of, let's say 20%, right? And then your bank is telling you that they're going to give you a benefit of, let's say, $100 rebate every single year. They're going to give you $200 when you check in, $150 for TSA, whatever the case is, right? And then you start spending money on your credit card and you're not financially sound to be able to pay everything out every single month. At the end of the month, they will charge you interest rate. And with that interest rate that you're charging you, it actually boils down to you actually losing. You're not really gaining, okay? So that is one thing that I really, really, really wish that I knew earlier in life, because you actually getting those credit cards, yes, they're great. It's kind of like a buffer for you, but then at the end of the day, you should be smart about it. If you cannot afford it, do not spend that money on the credit card, okay? What I do on my side, that which I feel if you do, it would help you out a lot, is try as much as possible that whenever you're about to spend money on your credit card, you actually have that liquid cash. So once you spend, you pay. Once you spend, you pay. So it helps you build your credit, because credit is very good as well, okay? So it helps you build your credit and it helps you actually make that sound financial decisions as you go forward. Okay, so the third thing that I actually made mistakes on while I was growing up was not paying myself first, okay? So this one is pay yourself first. So paying yourself first, what I mean by that is, there are a lot of people who probably not fall into this category, because the main thing is, once you get paid either every 2 weeks, every month, every 3 weeks, whatever the case is, right? You have to make sure that you set the money aside, even if it's 10%, if it's 20%, at minimum 10%, right? Or if you can, 5%. Save that 5% of that paycheck like you're actually paying a bill. So let's say if I get paid $2,000 every 2 weeks, right? I am gonna take $100 and save that money on the side, right? Or I'm gonna take $200 and save that money on the side, like I'm actually paying myself a bill, okay? When you do that, it helps you get financially sound to the point where you know that, okay, in as much as I'm working, paycheck to paycheck, I still have something to buffer on just in case anything happens to me in the near future, okay? So you should be able to pay yourself first, because one thing that we tend to do a lot is to pay all bills. I'm paying the water bill, I'm paying the light bill, I'm paying the mortgage, I'm paying the car loan, I'm paying all these extra stuff, but then I'm not thinking about myself. You should be able to think about yourself in that aspect where you know very well that you could pay yourself and still be okay with whatever situation that you're going through, okay? So pay yourself first. That is very important. Okay, so the next thing that I have on here is having a cushion. So having a cushion actually boils back down into paying yourself first, and it also boils back down to waiting too long to invest, okay? So having that cushion is the aspect of you actually saving, okay? So when you're saving and having some liquid cash on the side, in as much as I'm telling you to actually invest some of the money, do not invest everything. You should invest at least some of the money to make sure that, okay, at the end of the day, should in case anything happens, because life happens, right? Should in case anything happens in life, let's say you lose your job, you lose your house, at least have about 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. And like I said, not every single individual in the world would be able to do this, which I totally understand. But if you can, try as much as possible to save at least 3 to 6 months of expenses on the side. Because trust me, it was an eye-opener for every single individual in the world when COVID hit in 2020, okay? There were a lot of people who did not have savings on the side, which at the end of the day, they had to either lose your job and they were going through government help for them to be able to survive. They lost their houses, lost their cars, every single thing. So try as much as possible to have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses saved going forward, if you can. Okay, so the next thing is not knowing your income or expenses. Not knowing your income or expenses. That is one thing that really, really hit me when I was growing up, okay? Because one of the things is, as I was growing up and I was getting paid, working, getting paid, that type of stuff, all I was doing is, okay, I pay my bills, whatever is left, I actually spend it, or whatever I want to do with it, I do with it, okay? But one thing that you're supposed to be actually curious about, or one thing you should be actually focused on, is the fact that you should have literally an Excel sheet or whatever sheet that you can, wherever you can jot your notes, right? Have some notes as to if, okay, I get paid $2,500 every single week or every single 2 weeks. Okay, if I take out my water bill, if I take out my light bill, my car payment, those type of miscellaneous expenses that you have, right? If you take all those stuff out, how much is left? You should know that, okay, this is how much I make. This is the trajectory as to where I want to get to. So if you put all that down, or you jot all that down, and you know that, okay, I need a new job, then you go for it. If you need to talk to your boss to get a new raise or a new field or whatever the case is, you do it so you make more money, so you're able to cushion yourself well. So at the end of the day, you're not found wanting, shit in case any sort of life crisis happens to you, okay? I wouldn't want to see you go through that, because, we're a great family here. That's wonderful. All right, so the next thing is that I have here is expensive behaviors. That is very, very important. And one thing, right, per research, right, most expensive behaviors happen right after kids or right after students graduate from college. Let me tell you why. The moment that you graduate from college, let's say you go into consulting like I did, right? The moment that you graduate from college, you start making $100,000. You feel like, ooh, I'm on top of the world. I can get this car. I can get this Mercedes. I can get this BMW. I can get all these expensive things. I can get an expensive apartment with, these great sunlight coming in, that type of stuff, right? Though they're great, but you should examine yourself as to if you're able to afford it at that moment, right? So you're having that expensive behavior where you have a Mercedes Benz where you're paying about $1,000 or $900 every single month. It's not really worth it at that point in time. There are those who actually had that silver spoon when they're coming out, right? Where they had their family being rich and all those type of stuff. Yes, they can afford it. Their family has the money, but you as an individual, an average individual like myself or you, we do not have that funds to be able to spend them at that point in time. So what I recommend is I would rather you save the money, and if you can get an auction car at that point in time, just to make sure that you can go from A to B. And once you save up some money and then you invest, like I said, which was my first option, invest that money from the beginning. That investment that you did will be able to pay for that expensive lifestyle that you want to live at the end. So at the end of the day, you're not spending your own liquid cash to be able to live that expensive life. So I hope that actually made sense. So I really do not want you to go into debt, actually buying all these expensive stuff. You want to travel the world. That is totally fine. But make sure that you are actually investing some money first and using that investment to fuel that expensive lifestyle that you want to live. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about here that I think everybody should actually pay attention, that would really help you out a lot, is the aspect of taxes. So a lot of people would think that, okay, just because I work, I have to pay taxes. It's totally fine. Yes, you have to pay taxes, but there are a lot of ways that the government have made it legally for you to be able to actually not pay as much taxes like you should. So the first thing is the aspect of the fact that you register a business, right? So let's say you have something that you love to do. Let's say you love sewing, you love taking pictures, you love doing numerous type of stuff, right? If you're somebody who has these handy skills, you should be able to register your business. So when you register your business, you're able to write off these tax liabilities, so you don't have to be paying a lot of taxes at the end of the year. That is something that is very important that if you could do, it would really help you out a lot. Investing into IRAs, investing into 401ks, that type of stuff, because those serve as a cushion, because at the end of the day, when you get paid, they take it out of there, and it's not really tax deductible, so you really don't have to pay that much tax on them. So you should really look into actually registering a business if you actually have some handiwork or anything that you love to do with your hands, anything that you want to register as a business. You should really look into that, and also look into the aspect of IRAs, 401ks, those type of stuff, mutual funds, those type of stuff. It would help you out a lot when it comes to actually, writing off some stuff when it comes to taxes, and those are legal stuff that you should do, okay? Which would help you out a lot. So at the end of the day, you're working a lot, but you're not really seeing that money coming in. So these are the points that I really feel that I actually had to learn in the hardest way whilst I was growing up and immersing myself in the financial industry, that I feel that you would learn a lot of stuff from. So I do hope that I gave you some great gems today. If you do like the video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it to a couple of friends, your mother, sister, uncle, brother, so they can actually learn something from it as well. Till I see you again, guys. Stay blessed, be blessed, and God bless. Peace.